All right, guys, so on the same day, I had different clients have different issues, so I thought, shit, I should have made a video about that by now. All right, so now we're going to talk about qualifiers. So each qualifier will have a floor plan. Most of them have a floor plan. If they don't have a floor plan, then that makes it much easier for you to choose the angle of the camera. I'm not going to teach you how to film a workout. I'm going to teach you how to cheat the system. So this video is not going to be long. I'm not going to go over step by step because each qualifier is different. But just a few things. So distance and camera angle. So right now my video is set for 4K, HD, 1080p. Basically, if I pull down my pants, you could see my pee-pee hole. Hashtag pee-pee hole. You're not going to be using those settings for your qualifiers, okay? For your qualifiers, you're going to use the second best settings. You're not going to use the best settings, okay? So that's tip number one. Tip number two, okay? When you're doing wobbles, always angle out the camera a little bit lower. I don't mean put the camera on the ground, but you still have the microphone so you can see. It's a very big difference if you're doing wobble. Don't forget, doesn't matter if the target's not there. There's a huge difference if you're doing wobbles. Let's imagine you're doing wobbles here. It's going to unfocus because the angle is going to be like this. You'll be at a 45-degree angle. So, you know those reps where it's very close to the line, where you don't know if it's a rep or not? The higher the camera angle, the less it's going to look like a rep. So, if you have wobbles, don't mount your camera at chest level. Mount your camera more or less at this level here. If you see all the elites, they're going to put the camera here. Because the higher the camera, the less the angle, right? And the same goes for anything that has squatting patterns, right? So, let's get back in the camera. If I'm doing an air squat, let's say I have no need to say, I have shitty ankle mobility, right? So let's say you get tired and your ankles start to come up. This will decrease the depth of the hip because if the knee comes forward, it decreases the depth of the hip, right? So if you have the camera set a little bit higher than waist point, so right now the camera is set at waist point. If I'm doing the reps here, they're clear reps. However, if the camera is set a little bit higher, around at this height, which some people still do, it's all going to be no reps. And the same for pistol squats, single leg squats. So this is going to be, this is a huge one as well. Now, the last one for pull-ups. And this is, we literally had an athlete get disqualified because he was doing pull-ups. And some reps look like they're not reps. Is my face on when it's in the mirror? Yeah. So some reps look like there were no reps, but they were all reps. The problem was he was using Watt Timer. So the timer's in the video. So you don't have to be worried about leaving the video. But they were filming, first of all, they were filming in portrait. Never film in portrait because the video on YouTube doesn't load in portrait. Always film landscape. But if someone is holding the camera here, okay, like at this angle here, it's going to be very difficult to see the chin over the bar, especially if the person is moving the camera. So whenever you have pull-ups, make sure that the person is filming from a back angle here, right? Not from the bottom like that, from here, where your angle is clearly seen above. And make sure they're not moving the bar or doing this. More movement will decrease perception of the rep, okay? And that's gonna make a huge difference, okay? Now, you also have to think about angles. Let me put this back and let me go back on the platform. You also need to be thinking about angles. So, my left shoulder is injured. So, if I'm doing dumbbell snatch, for example, right? Let's say, that's perfect. Right. I don't want to ruin the ultra human ring, but this shoulder right now, today, it's not doing too well. I have some tricep tendonitis. So if I had to lock out a rep here, right? It's not going to be fully locked out. See that? I have to arch a lot. So from the front, no problem. But if you're filming from the side, you might miss you might miss a few reps. Here, you can get away with it a little bit, but if you have a bum arm on the dumbbell snatch, for example, when you come here from the front, it's very hard to see the no reps. But if you're on the side, you can see all of them. Now, I'm not saying do this in every single dumbbell snatch, clean and jerk. However, you're allowed to do basically anything that is not on the movement standards or the film list. So if they don't specify that you need to be 45, etc., most of them say you need to be camera facing, right? Which is for extreme advantage. So whenever you have a workout, do everything that's in the floor plan, but you also need to make sure that the video is optimal. I don't want to say cheat, optimal for your movement to look as best as possible, right? So if I film a pistol squat from the front, it's gonna look like a no rep. If I film it from the side like this, it might also look like a no rep. But if I film it at 45 degree, you now have a better angle to see the knee in relationship to the hip. You gotta be smart about these things. It's not just who's the fittest, it's who can play the game the best. And this is what you need to do. You need to play the system too. All right, that's it.